So breaking news, Israel strikes Tehran in Iran. Tehran is the capital city of Iran. It is the largest city. There are just under 10 million people in Tehran. I want to remind everyone when we talk about Tehran, we have to remember that's where Professor Morandi also is. Professor Morandi, who has been on this show multiple times. He's a professor at the University of Tehran. You've seen him on my show, Danny Haifong's show, a number of people's shows. So if you're wondering if you know someone who is there, you would know of Professor Morandi. And bother me if I do seem a little bit out of breath is just because like I really was racing to get back. I was like trying to watch the video really quick before I started the live stream because this is an escalation, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot refer to this as retaliatory. I want us to remove that word from the vocabulary. Okay, let's all do this together. Remove that word from the vocabulary. This is an escalation. And I'll give shout outs in the chat, but I really wanted to start with this breaking news because this is absolutely insane. This is not the direction that we want to go in. If anything, there should be de-escalation. There should not be escalation because you can bet this attack here on Tehran is not going to go unanswered by Iran. I'm willing to bet you that they are going to respond to this. So what we are seeing now is that we are seeing Israel just wage an outright territorial war in the Middle East. They are not just attacking civilians in Gaza. They are attacking civilians in Lebanon. They've been attacking civilians in Syria, and now they are attacking civilians in Iran. So I want to start there. Let's go ahead and bring up this video here.
Well, we initially got these reports of explosions in the Iranian capital of Tehran, and now my colleague Alex Marquardt has indeed confirmed, according to an official familiar with the matter, that Israel has indeed begun their retaliatory strikes on Iran. This is, of course, in retaliation for that barrage of ballistic missiles that Iran fired at Israel, some 200 ballistic missiles at the beginning of the month of October.
We have to pause there. I'm sorry. We have to pause there and we have to go ahead and debunk the propaganda. So again, we are going to remove that word retaliatory from our vocabulary. This is an escalation because number one, how did this all begin? Let's remember that Israel attacked the Iranian embassy in Damascus. That was the first attack there towards Iran. Iran responded to Israel after that, letting them know like, hey, what up? No, this is not okay. And we're going to show you what we can do if we wanted to attack you. And then there was another attack in Iran by Israel, and that was the death of one of the Hamas leaders, and he was in Iran at that time. So they attacked him in Iran, not in Gaza, and he was killed. So we always have to go back to the beginning. And what I'm noticing with CNN, particularly with this story, with CNN, notice what they are doing. They're starting with, well, this is a response from when Iran launched those missiles towards Israel. No. This is why we have independent media. Never forget that Israel attacked the Iranian embassy in Damascus first. In fact, when you look at all of these situations, you will see who has been the aggressor. It was Israel who was the aggressor towards people in Lebanon by occupying a portion of that land. It was Israel who was the aggressor in Syria. It was Israel who has been the aggressor in Gaza and the West Bank far before October 7th. So we have to be careful about this word retaliatory. We are going to refer to it here as escalation, because that is what Israel's trying to do. Israel's trying to escalate what is happening in the Middle East, and they are going to draw American troops into this escalation. Let's continue.
October, and now, some 3.5 weeks later, it appears that Israel's retaliation is indeed now underway, with multiple explosions reported in the Iranian capital, according to Iran's semi-official farce news agency. Now, there's a lot that we still don't know at this stage, even as we are starting to get dramatic images of plumes of smoke emerging from Tehran. We don't yet know exactly what the targets were of this Iranian strike. But make no mistake, already just the fact that these explosions were reported in the Iranian capital, this is an indication that Israel is carrying out a more severe retaliation than the one it did for Iran's initial attack against Israel back in April, when it targeted the city of Isfahan, some air defense batteries there. This is now in the heart of the Iranian capital. The question is, what were the targets? Were these simply...
Pause for a second. So notice what they're doing here. Once again, he said, this is a larger retaliatory response. No, this is a larger escalation, right? Notice how they go. This goes back to April. So they totally skipped over the attack on the Iranian embassy. This is State Department media that you are listening to when you hear CNN right now referring to this conflict. Remember, their job is to make you believe that Israel is doing everything in the right and that you need to support Israel. So it's always important. We are always going to go back to the beginning, at least on this show.
Military targets, or was there something else here? That had been one of the major points of discussion between Israel and the United States, but we can now confirm that those retaliatory strikes by Israel have indeed begun now in Iran.
So we're looking at big time trouble. And I'll go ahead and show you the rest of the article here so you can see the latest updates. Israel has begun its retaliatory strikes on Iran. And it takes you back to a recap. And this is what I was trying to explain to everyone here. It says Iran launched a missile attack on Israel on October 1st, and Israeli response has been expected since. Right. So do you see what they're doing? They're starting with the missile attack that Iran did on October 1st, and they're not going back to the attack on the Iranian embassy in Damascus. It's very important that we call this out. Pay attention to this. Earlier, U.S. Air Force F-16 fighter jets arrived in the Middle East from Germany, according to the U.S. Central Command, as the region embraces for Israel's anticipated response to Iran's major missile attack earlier this month. Almost everything that you are seeing here in this article by CNN, almost all of this is propaganda. All of it, the way that it is worded. This is very disgusting. So you see, they're already sending in U.S. Air Force fighter jets. Meanwhile, Israel's military chief has said there was the possibility of a sharp conclusion to the war against Hezbollah in Lebanon, as troops have thoroughly dismantled Hezbollah's senior chain of command. Talks on a possible deal in Gaza are expected to resume this weekend, though there is little expectation of breakthrough before the U.S. presidential election, which is exactly what I predicted would happen. This would not be resolved before the election. And let me tell you what this is going to mean. The case I think that Biden and the Democratic Party are going to make is that you should not want to change over the power of the White House, given the fact that we now have a larger scale war in the Middle East, and you have this attack on Iran from Israel, because Iran is going to respond. And Israel knows that. And that's what Israel wants. So let's go back to September 11, when George W. Bush was president. Remember, during that time, after that time, there was a refusal by many that there should be a changing of the guard, so to speak, in the presidency, because they said you do not want to remove the current president during time of warfare. That was one of the pros that George W. Bush had running for him at that point in time, which was the fact that he could say, do you really want to remove me and bring in John Kerry at this point in time when we're in the middle of this conflict? So this could be the October surprise. There's no way this goes unanswered. No way this goes unanswered. It's October 25th. So I would imagine there would probably be a response from Iran before the election. And the Democrats are going to use this to make their case that you should not have a new party come in during this time. Now, I don't know that that is going to work. I don't know that people are going to fall for it, because now what you may run into is another situation. For those who may not have voted yet, early voting has already started. You may run into this situation where now you have Iranian Americans who may have been possibly wanting to support the Democratic Party, maybe those that do not approve of the Iranian regime. And now that Israel has attacked Iran in Tehran, again, the most populous city, the largest city there, just under about 10 million people, that could possibly change the way that they plan to vote. So and I cannot say this enough. This is real. For the people who tell me that foreign policy is not important, it is important. This is directly connected to a domestic issues that we have here in this country, because this is going to impact us. If you are in the military, chances are you could be tapped to go fight Israel's war. This is why I warned people months ago, if you can get out of the military, get out, get out. This is exactly what Israel wanted. They want Iran gone. They want Gaza gone. They want Lebanon gone. And they want the land. Netanyahu said so himself right there at the UN. And he said, these people are the curse. I don't know about you, but I don't want U.S. troops going over there, fighting and killing people in the Middle East again. Do you? Because I don't. Look at what has happened. Look at what has happened in the past year, and not just the past year. Under the Biden-Harris administration, we have the war in Ukraine. We have a genocide in Gaza. You have Israel striking Lebanon, killing over 2,000 people in Lebanon. And now you have Israel striking Iran. And we can sit back and pretend that this doesn't matter. You can do that all you want to. But I don't know about you. This is real. Iran is real. Iran does have powerful weapons. This can easily escalate into World War III. Don't forget, just because Russia has the war with Ukraine, Russia will back Iran. And that's how we could get into a World War III. All of this could have been prevented if the Biden-Harris administration would have stopped sending the arms to Israel. We have to be real about this. Ronald Reagan was able to pick up the phone. He picked up the phone and said, stop bombing Lebanon. Too many innocent civilians are getting killed. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can do the same thing. Kamala Harris has told you she is not going to withhold arms to Israel. This administration has done nothing but lead us closer and closer to World War III. That's what they have been doing. And the threat of nuclear war is real. You may think that it's not, but it is. And if you think that we can't be impacted because we're across the pond and we live in the United States, you are wrong. You're wrong. It needs to be said. This is very scary and very alarming, and it all could have been prevented. This administration, if this continues, they're going to get us all killed. I don't know what else to say to people. I don't know what else to say. This is not about vibes. This is not about, I don't care that Beyonce is at a rally for Kamala Harris. This is not about Beyonce. This is not about Eminem, Usher. This is not about all these celebrities that came forward to introduce and to endorse Kamala Harris. This is not about coconuts. This is not about booty shaking Meg Thee Stallion. This is not about vibes. This is real life shit. And this is serious. And it is absolutely insane. It's insane that we got here. And I'm sorry if I'm yelling, but for the people who continue to tell me this didn't matter, the people who continue to tell me, don't worry about what's happening in the Middle East, just focus on what's happening right here in the United States. They are getting ready to send American troops to go fight Israel's war. This genocidal apartheid state, they're going to send Black men and Black women to go fight and help a genocidal apartheid state. Now you tell me why I should sit back and be excited about coconuts and vibes. And I went to Howard and I was in a sorority, and you tell me why I should be happy and excited about that. None of that matters when there is the threat of World War III. And that is something that vibes cannot get you through. Period. So if you are just joining me, Israel has begun its escalatory strikes on Iran. We are removing this word, retaliatory, because they struck the Iranian embassy in Damascus first. This is real life. This is not a game. And I will beg of you again, if you are in the military and you can get out, get out. This is why Aaron Bushnell did what he did. Get out. If you are a parent and your child is coming to you, asking you if they should join the military, don't you let your babies go die for this country. Don't you let your children go overseas and kill people for this country and for that genocidal state of Israel. Don't you let your children go do it. And especially if you're Black, don't damn sure go over there and do it. I know that's not the usual way that I start the show, but that news just broke. And this is, I cannot say it enough, just how real this is. It's not a game. And all the things, a lot of these things that people are talking about, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now. And what's worse is that all of this could have been prevented. All of it. We could have had a ceasefire months ago. We could have had a ceasefire last year. Not even 2024. We could have had a ceasefire before December of last year. But our government continued to give Israel weapons, continued to let Netanyahu walk all over them, all because of lobby interest groups that control these politicians. We need to have free public elections in this country. There's no if, and, or but about it. Because these lobby interest groups like AIPAC, they are going to get everybody killed except for the state of Israel that they want to protect. And I don't know about you, but I'll be damned. Me and my family, we not going down for a genocidal apartheid state. And I know you and your family don't want to do that either. You stop sending the weapons, and that's how you end it. They're getting all the weapons from us. The UK stopped the weapons. France doesn't want to get involved. Other countries in the West have been pushing back against Israel. Algeria stood up at the UN chanting free Palestine. And the US government has blood on its hands. And we all need to remember this time. We all need to remember this moment, because we never know when it could happen to us. We never know. This is real. This is real life. And it frustrates me because people, they want you to go out. They want you to vote on vibes. These people are not anti-war. Kamala Harris is not anti-war.